Row that doggone boat. And whatever else PJ Fleck says at the end of every other interview that I really can't make out because he says it so fast. Maybe one of you Minnesota fans can let me know in the comments section what that is. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down the Gophers' big win over Auburn at the Outback Bowl, 31-24. A game that went down to the final drive, but Minnesota, I don't want to say they dominated this game, but they controlled this game. They had game control on the Auburn Tigers as a 7-point underdog. Mighty impressive from the Gophers. Maybe they'll get some love in the final polls. Early on, didn't look good. Looked like Auburn may overwhelm Minnesota, much like they did Purdue last year, although I didn't have those kind of concerns for the Gophers heading into this game. A much more sound team, much more talented team, pretty much across the board than Purdue in getting just annihilated by Auburn last year, giving up 56 points in the first half. Okay, but right out of the gate, 3rd and 2, right on the RPO that Tanner Morgan loves to hit that slant on. Boom, picked off by Javaris Davis. He jumped the route, and he took it inside the 15-yard line. But Minnesota held in the red zone, played some good man-to-man defense on the outside against Seth Williams, and it was 3-0 Auburn. Minnesota came right back, and they started to run the football. And that's what was a bit surprising with 2 offensive linemen missing. And even though the Gophers are obviously very deep at running back, led now by Muhammad Ibrahim and then Rodney Smith as well, that they could control the game with the run, running for 215 yards, and they started that on that first scoring drive, their second drive to make it 3-3. Then, bam, Noah Igbenichene. Yes, Igbenichene, I believe is how the young man pronounces his name. Noah took off. Number 4 just went crazy. Kickoff return, took it up the middle, went to the outside, and nobody could catch him. And Auburn was out 10-3 at that point. Auburn, though, muffed a punt, so they got a big play in the special teams, but they gave one away to Minnesota just a few minutes later on the muffed punt. Thomas Barber recovered for Minnesota, and then Tanner Morgan to Rashad Bateman. Nice out route. Bateman started to do some work, as did Tyler Johnson. A little bit more on him in just a second. Ibrahim with a 16-yard touchdown run in which he completely made KJ Brett whiff in the open field. Ibrahim with 20 carries for 140 yards and this touchdown to make it 10-10. We had a 7-point lead for the Minnesota Golden Gophers at halftime. Tanner Morgan would miss on some throws. They could have extended the lead. However, Seth Williams started to make his presence known. They didn't go to him enough in the first half. Had a one-handed catch, drew a PI, got Auburn back in the game at 24-all. Boobie Whitlow fumbled at the goal line, but Prince Tega Wanaku, the freshman offensive lineman for Auburn, saved the day momentarily, at least, with a recovery of the fumble inside the 5-yard line. We had a game tied at 24 after Boobie Whitlow took it in on the next play. Minnesota won the game on one play, at least offensively. Tyler Johnson just made the corner look silly. Out route fake to the post, 73 yards. Tyler Johnson set a Minnesota record for receiving in this game for a bowl. He also set the all-time record for yardage and touchdown receptions, breaking Eric Decker's records. 73 yards to the post, 31-24, and ironically, Tyler Johnson smoked Monday on a Wednesday. Next, Auburn possession, Bo Nix flattened by Antoine Winfield off the corner, blitzing off the edge, and he came from way deep in the secondary and found the edge and nobody in his sight. We had about 8 minutes left in the game. Minnesota gutsy on this particular series. So they're up 31-24. They're driving, but there's still 3:20 left in the game. 4th and 1 at the Auburn 41, so they could give it up in prime real estate for the Tigers. But on 4th and 1, they do a little pop pass to Bryce Witham, who makes a tremendous over-the-shoulder twisting catch with one hand to convert the 4th down into a 1st down, and Minnesota kept the ball and would not give it back as they row the boat, and Ibrahim would get a couple more 1st down runs to ice it. 31-24, Minnesota beats Auburn, and the Gophers finish up at 11-2, and maybe they will get some respect in the final polls, enter this game as the lowest, by far lowest ranked 10-2 team in football. Finish up 11-2. Looking forward to 2020, the Gophers have their main game against BYU at home, and Auburn has a date with North Carolina in Atlanta to highlight its non-conference schedule in 2020. The Tigers finish up against one of the tougher schedules in the country. I would say Auburn and South Carolina and Texas A&M with the three toughest. Auburn goes to 9-4. Your thoughts on Minnesota football in particular, but Auburn as well, of course, right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.